Hello, I'm Sue Romanoff from Edison Group. Today I'm joined by Kirsty Krame, MD, the head of clinical strategy and development of Medigene, a German biotech with a platform focused on immunotherapies. Welcome, Dr. Krame.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Sue.
So Medigene is a leader in the field of precision immunology, developing TCR-guided therapies for cancer. Could you highlight how you're differentiated?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. I think what's very differentiating about Medigene, and that's kind of where it all starts from, is that we have quite a long history. The company was founded in 1994, and in 2014, our current CSO, Professor Dolores Schendel, came on board and really developed the company into what we are doing now, focusing on precision oncology and targeted immunotherapy. And she's really dedicated her whole life to understanding deep T-cell biology, tumor immunology, and that really shines through in all the work that we do now. I think our thresholds, benchmarks, and the standards that we uphold within the company when we deliver natural TCRs with exceptional safety, specificity, and sensitivity is something very unique. And the reproducibility of our data, being able to deliver not one TCR against one HLA type, but one TCR, and I should probably tell you, a T-cell receptor, against multiple targets, and they all deliver this high sensitivity, specificity, and safety, is very unique. And I think that this is supported by the partnerships that we have with BioNTech, Regeneron, and WuXi Biologics, which was most recently announced, which really supports the value of these TCRs that we find. And we also have some very partnerships with very renowned institutions, academic institutions like the Helmholtz in Munich, the Technical University in Munich, and the NIH, so National Institute of Health in the US, where we have close collaborations and really working with great scientific minds. And then in addition to this, we have a very broad and modular end-to-end platform that supports us in all the work that we do. But hopefully we can touch upon that later.
So you have an active pipeline. Could you provide an overview of your key programs?
Absolutely. So I think maybe just take one step back first before I answer your question. So we really focus on TCR-guided therapies and multiple modalities that are guided by T-cell receptors, because T-cell receptors have this ability to very specifically and very sensitively targeted those tumor cells, and whatever is coupled to the TCR will get delivered to the tumor site. And cancer as a disease is not a disease that, unless you are one of the patients with very early stage disease when you are diagnosed, that goes away or is really cured by one modality. So we need multiple modalities, and each patient might need their own sequence of modalities to really get to a deep remission or potentially a cure in the future. And that's what we're all aiming for. So we developed these T-cell receptor guided therapies, and we've, over the past years, mainly focused on cell therapies. That is our 1015 program, which targets a certain protein called cancer-testis antigens, and then our KRAS program, which is our 20XX program, which is a different type of protein expressed on tumor cells that T-cell receptors can target. And those were both in autologous settings, so where we use patients' own cells to add our TCR to, and then give them back to the patient as a treatment. We've recently announced that we're also looking at the allogeneic setting, and that means that we can use healthy donor cells to add our T-cell receptors to. And this just means that we can have the therapy available quicker for patients because we don't have to harvest patient cells first before we go there. And the third modality that we've announced working on, and our most recent collaboration with WuXi Biologics, focuses on T-cell receptor T-cell engagers. So where we're trying to couple the patient's own immune system with our TCRs to the tumor. So really directing the immune system where to go. And that's the extent of our pipeline currently announced. We're very excited, if I can elaborate a little bit more, on our lead program, which is Medigene 1015, with our recent IND approval, which is in the US. We're granted approval by the regulatory authorities there to move this project to the clinic. and we'll be looking to open the clinical study by the end of this year. We've had a really smooth interaction with the FDA, which is the regulatory authority in the US, which was great to see that they're also poised to move these therapies to patients. And we've seen really the promise that these TCR-T therapies hold with approval of TIL therapy, which are non-engineered T cells in 2023. Yes, 2023. And then recently this year, the first TCR-T therapy that was approved in solid tumors, which shows really the ability that these cells have and might give to patients. But we also saw from that clinical data that there is a clear need to improve both the depth and duration of the responses provided to patients. But we also want to move beyond orphan indications. And orphan indications are just very rare indications that affect very few patients each year. And to give an example, the approval targets about 1,000 patients annually in the US alone, and Medigene would 1015 will be able to target 200,000 patients globally if we see that it works, of course, in all those indications. But I think that's a very differentiating thing for that therapy. To speak a little bit about the therapy itself, it's a third generation, really first-in-class therapy where we not only use a naked TCR, but we give that TCR and the T cells that it's on, really armoring and enhancement, because tumor microenvironments, so the tumor itself, really has the ability to stop your immune system from working. And we need it to work because we need it to clear the tumor. So by adding armoring and enhancement elements to this therapy, we're able to help these cells exert their function when they get to the tumor. And a third thing that this therapy really focuses on is what we call the drug product. So after we have harvested the cells, we have put the TCR onto the cells, you need to make sure that these cells are really still fit and able to exert their function. It's a living therapy, cell therapy, which is incredibly exciting, but you need to take care for the cells that you're giving back to the patient. So by the way that we manufacture these cells, we do this in a very short time frame, which of course is good to patients because the quicker they can get treatment, the better. But also it makes that we have this really unique drug product composition, as we refer to it, with very fit cells. So I think that is the novelty and differentiation of this specific therapy. Broader indications, armoring and enhancement, our unique TCRs, and then that drug product composition. So this got us very excited, and we've really seen when we speak to investigators that this is also resonates with the investigators in the sites. And we've been really incredibly fortunate to be able to announce, at least here, that one of the sites that we'll be working with is the Fred Hutch Cancer Institute in Seattle, which is a very renowned cancer institute. And our PI, Dr. Zen, is the associate professor there, and in the University of Washington as well. So really a key opinion leader in the field that will be leading the efforts in the US on this trial. So very excited to move this program to the clinic and work with the sites there.
So you have this exciting end-to-end platform addressing the challenges in the development of TCR-T therapies. Can you share some of its capabilities and how it's different from your competitors?
Definitely. Thank you for the question. Our end-to-end platform is really modular, so we can apply it through all the stages of development where we're working. It's also important that it's not a fixed platform that remains the same throughout the years. It really keeps up with the state of art. You can see in our recent years how much publications have come out and how much new technologies have been added to support really efficient ways of generating TCRs and T cell receptors, or supporting the multiple modalities all through manufacturing all the way through clinical development. And as an example, we recently announced our Unitope and tracker, which is a very novel way of being able to identify specifically cells that express our T cell receptors. And this can be done in different ways. It was never 100% accurate. And this is a very new state-of-the-art technology that allows us to accurately track these cells. And this is very important because this is a question that we get more and more from regulators with more and more scrutiny, that during development, we're able to specifically tell which cells are the ones that express a receptor, which don't. And we can take it all the way through clinical development. And in the future, we'll be able to say within patients, how many cells, where are our cells through this technology. So it's just an example of one of the technologies that really supports the development and through all the way that we do from target identification, TCR generation through to clinical development.
Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit, but congratulations on your partnered programs with Regeneron BioNTech and also with WuXi Biologics. I think that external validation is really helpful and encouraging in this tough macro environment. Could you provide a background on some of these programs?
Certainly. So we're indeed very proud to have such partners and scientific minds that support what we already believe and see in our labs. For the BioNTech deal, we have a multi-year, multi-TCR collaboration with BioNTech, who really see the value of our TCRs and who will, or who is planning to move at least one of our PRAME TCRs into the clinic. With Regeneron, we also work on the cell therapy side, where one of our MAGE TCRs is currently in the clinic in Asia through JW Therapeutics. And we're very interested to see the clinical data coming out from that trial, which again will very much support how our TCRs function in the clinic, which is, of course, what we're doing this for. And then our most newly announced collaboration with WuXi Biologics is our Medigene 3010 program, where we're able to really benefit from complementary expertise on our side with the 3S TCRs and their WuXi proprietary platforms. Again, having multiple modalities is incredibly important for cancer patients, and they'll be guided by our TCRs, which we consider to be optimal binders, and will be very sensitive and specific in finding those tumor cells.
Right. I mean, you're pretty busy, so we've covered a lot. Is there a way you can briefly recap some of the key milestones and catalysts investors should look for in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yes, I think I'm incredibly excited about the upcoming year and a half. As head of clinical development, having a first program with Medigene 1015 going to the clinic end of this year is something I very much look forward to. So the clinical data that we're targeting, the early clinical data from that trial, we're targeting to announce near the end of 2025, which will be a big milestone for the company. Also advancing our KRAS library, which is the other autologous cell therapy programs that we have in our pipeline. We'll be advancing those towards IND stage, where we'll make certain announcements about achievements along the way. For the 3010 program with WuXi Biologics, the outcome of our proof of principle study, we'll be talking about that in the upcoming half year to a year, and further updates on our partnering with both strategics and renowned academic institutions. I think we have some really exciting things that we'll be able to talk about more in the future.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those. Thank you, Dr. Crane, for the update. Thank you all for joining us here today. If you'd like to learn more about Medigene, please refer to edisongroup.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue.
Thanks.